This is the Below Grade Podcast by Golden Triangle Services, where Glen and Carrol dig into the hidden issues in government contracting. Real stories, hard truths, and a better way forward. Let's get to work.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Below Grade Podcast, where we go from blueprint to boots, digging into the nitty-gritty of confined space and excavation safety. I'm Glen.
And I'm Carrol. Grab your coffee. We're talking about a topic that hits job sites across Texas and beyond: confined space and excavation safety. It's technical, yes, but it's also deeply personal for anyone who's worked below grade. It's about ensuring every single person goes home safe at the end of their shift.
Absolutely, Carrol. This isn't just about taking boxes. It's about fostering a culture where safety is ingrained in every decision, every action. Let's start by breaking down what OSHA means by a confined space. It's any area that
is large enough for a worker to enter and perform tasks, has limited or restricted entry or exit, is not designed for continuous human occupancy.
Think of a tank, a vault, a silo, manhole, or even a large pipe. These are places where the air might not be what you expect, or where getting out quickly could be a challenge.
Or that underground telecom vault that always smells like moldy rubber and regret. I've seen folks go in with nothing but a flashlight. That's not good enough anymore. The hazards in these spaces are often invisible, which makes them even more dangerous. We're talking about atmospheres that can kill you in seconds.
Right. And if the space has hazards like toxic gases, low oxygen, or a risk of engulfment, then it's classified as a permit-required confined space under OSHA Standard 1910.146. That triggers a full entry procedure which is non-negotiable. This isn't a suggestion, it's a legal and ethical requirement.
Which includes things like signage, a written permit, and trained personnel ready for rescue. It's not about bureaucracy, it's about building habits that save lives. The permit itself is a checklist, a communication tool, and a record of the hazards and controls put in place. Everyone involved, from the entry supervisor to the attendant and the entrant, needs to sign off on it. It ensures everyone is on the same page about the risks and the plan to mitigate them.
Yeah, before entering, atmospheric testing is a must. OSHA requires that testing follow this sequence: oxygen, flammables, and toxic gases or vapors. This isn't just a random order. Each step is critical.
The order matters.
Yes.
If you test flammables first and don't catch a low oxygen level, you're already in danger. A spark in an oxygen-rich environment or a lack of oxygen that causes immediate unconsciousness are both deadly. And it's not just a pre-check. You've got to keep monitoring while people are inside. Continuous monitoring is key because conditions can change rapidly due to work being performed, external factors, or even just the passage of time.
Exactly. Conditions can change fast, especially in industrial or utility settings. Think about a sewer line where gases can build up quickly, or a tank where residual chemicals might off-gas. If the monitor alarms or the air shifts, everyone needs to evacuate immediately. No questions asked, no second guessing. That alarm is your lifeline. And if the attendant's job to ensure that evacuation happens without delay.
Speaking of attendants, let's clarify roles. The entrant is the worker going into the space. The attendant stays outside, maintains communication, monitors the atmosphere, and initiates rescue if needed. They are the eyes and ears for the entrant. And the entry supervisor is responsible for overseeing the entire operation, ensuring all procedures are followed and conditions remain safe. Each role is vital, and a breakdown in any one can lead to disaster.
Absolutely. Strong agreement, and communication is paramount. We're not just talking about radios. Sometimes it's visual signals, sometimes it's a lifeline. Whatever the method, it needs to be reliable and constant. If communication is lost, that's an immediate trigger for concern and potential evacuation.
Let's talk rescue. This isn't just about having a rope. OSHA requires a plan, and not just on paper. It needs to be practiced, understood, and ready for immediate implementation. There are two types: non-entry rescue, where you pull the worker out without anyone else going in. This is always the preferred method as it minimizes risk to additional personnel. It might involve a retrieval system like a tripod and winch. Entry rescue, where trained responders enter the space in full PPE. This is a last resort and requires highly specialized training, equipment, and often a dedicated rescue team.
Rescue teams need to be familiar with the space, its size, shape, entry points. OSHA's Appendix F outlines that in detail. They need to know the potential hazards, practice simulated rescues, and have the right equipment on hand. And if you don't have trained rescue on standby, you don't start the job, period. Relying on emergency services like the fire department is not an acceptable primary rescue plan, as the response time might be too slow in an immediately dangerous to life or health atmosphere.
Right, because every second counts when someone is in distress in a confined space. A few minutes can be the difference between life and death, especially with atmospheric hazards. It's about proactive planning, not reactive panic.
Now, let's pivot to excavation, regulated under 29 CFR in 1926 Subpart P. This is another area where the ground beneath your feet can become your greatest enemy. A competent person must inspect every trench daily, and after any rain, vibration, or environmental change. This isn't a quick glance. It's a thorough examination of the trench, the spoil piles, the surrounding area, and the protective systems.
And competent isn't just a title. It means someone who can recognize existing and predictable hazards, like signs of collapse, unstable soil, or water accumulation, and has the authority to fix them right then and there. They can stop the work, order people out of the trench, and direct corrective actions. Without that authority, they're not truly competent in OSHA's eyes.
If you're digging deeper than 5 feet, OSHA says you need a protective system unless the excavation is entirely in stable rock. For anything over 20 feet, that system must be designed by a registered engineer. This isn't a suggestion. It's a hard and fast rule to prevent catastrophic collapses.
Your options for protective systems are sloping, cutting back the trench wall at an angle to the angle of repose of the soil. The steeper the angle, the less stable the soil. Shoring, using supports like hydraulic aluminum shores or timber shoring systems to prevent the trench walls from collapsing inward. Shielding, using trench boxes or shields, which are structures that workers can enter to protect them from a collapse. These don't prevent the collapse, but protect workers if one occurs. Each has its specific applications and limitations based on soil type, depth, and site conditions.
And let's not forget soil classification. This is fundamental. Type A is the most stable, think hard, cohesive clay. Type B is less stable, like granular, cohesionless soils, silt, or some clays. Type C is the weakest, think sand, gravel, or submerged clay, or soil from which water is freely seeping. If you're not testing that soil, you're guessing with people's lives. A competent person must be able to classify the soil accurately.
Trench safety also means managing everything around the trench. Spoil piles need to be kept at least 2 feet from the edge. This prevents the weight of the soil from destabilizing the trench wall and also prevents excavated material from falling back into the trench, potentially injuring workers. Access ladders must be placed every 25 feet if the trench is more than 4 feet deep, ensuring workers have a quick and easy way to enter and exit.
And you must call 811 before digging. Hitting a gas line or telecom line isn't just a nuisance, it's a hazard that could shut down a site or worse. It can cause explosions, electrocution, or severe injuries. In Texas, the one-call law is enforced statewide, making it mandatory to locate underground utilities before any excavation. This isn't a suggestion, it's a critical first step for any digging project.
I remember a job near Abilene. We hit a buried water line not on the drawings. The trench filled like a swimming pool in minutes. We had ladders in place and got out clean, but it reminded everyone how fast things can change.
That rapid change is why constant vigilance and proper planning are non-negotiable. It's not just about what you know, but how quickly you can react when the unexpected happens.
Now, let's talk about lockout tagout, LOTO. If equipment could activate during confined space entry or trenching, like a pump, an auger, a gate valve, or even an electrical panel, it must be de-energized and locked out. This prevents accidental startup or release of hazardous energy.
We've all seen jobs where someone assumes the switch is off or that a piece of equipment is just being worked on for a second. You don't assume. You tag it, lock it, and verify it. This involves physically de-energizing the equipment, applying a lock and tag to the energy isolating device, and then attempting to operate the equipment to ensure it's truly de-energized. It's a deliberate, multi-step process designed to eliminate the risk of unexpected startup.
And the tags aren't just for show. They communicate vital information. Who locked it out, why, and when. In a multi-crew environment, group lockout procedures are essential, ensuring every person working on the equipment is protected.
Now, let's talk about heat. Here in Texas, summer temps can hover around 105, 110 degrees F, especially down in a trench where there's no airflow. There's no formal OSHA heat standard yet, but under the general duty clause, employers must protect workers from known hazards like heat illness. This is a significant risk, and it can creep up on you fast.
That means shade, hydration, and recovery periods. It means providing cool water, encouraging frequent breaks in shaded or air-conditioned areas, and ensuring workers are acclimated to the heat. If someone's lightheaded, stumbling, confused, or experiencing muscle cramps, they need to be removed and cooled immediately. These are signs of heat exhaustion or heat stroke, which can be fatal.
And it's not just about the individual, it's about the team looking out for each other. Peer monitoring is crucial in hot environments. Sometimes the person suffering from heat stress might not even realize how bad off they are. When you layer all this in, permit spaces, trench safety, heat stress, LOTO, utilities, emergency preparedness, and the human element, it creates a complex risk matrix. But the good news is, we've got the tools and the knowledge to manage it effectively. It requires constant vigilance, training, and a commitment from everyone on site.
What we don't have is room for shortcuts. Paperwork doesn't protect people. Actions do. It's about making the right choice, even when it's inconvenient, even when it feels like it slows things down. Because that slow down could be the difference between a safe day and a tragedy. Let's talk about the tragic incident in Parker County on June 13th, where two workers, Jose Rogelio Segovia and Juan Zuniga Hernandez, died after getting stuck in an underground water tank. They were performing maintenance when coworkers lost contact. Despite rescue attempts by emergency services, the men were found unresponsive.
And it didn't just take lives, it devastated families, crews, and a community. It's a gut punch. And it's why we keep repeating this stuff. These aren't just statistics. These are real people, real families whose lives were forever altered. We carry their stories with us.
We honor them by doing better, by being relentless with our protocols, even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient, because the cost of convenience can be immeasurable.
All right, let's bring it home. If you're in leadership, set the tone. Walk your site. Ask questions. Don't accept vague answers. Demand clarity and accountability. If you're in the field, speak up. Check your monitors. Review your rescue plan. If something feels off, address it. You are empowered to stop work if it's unsafe.
And if you're a new worker, don't be afraid to slow things down if something feels wrong. That instinct is worth trusting. It's how veterans are made, by learning to identify and mitigate risks, and by having the courage to speak up. Your life and the lives of your coworkers depend on it. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. And remember, when it comes to big projects, we've got this handled.
You can count on it. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there.
Thanks for joining Glen and Carrol on the Below Grade podcast, brought to you by Golden Triangle Services. We're here to bring transparency to government contracting, one story at a time. Every 2 weeks, we'll take you deeper into the systems, safety issues, and oversight gaps that impact real projects and real people. From ethical contracting to infrastructure integrity, we cover what others overlook. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time below grade.